Hi, I'm Charlie Starr. The video you are about to watch is part of my free course, How to Read a Birth Chart. And now, back to this video. Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the Trinity of Spirit, which encompasses the first house, the fifth house, and the ninth house. Okay, here I just wanted to give you a visual of what I was talking about with the Trinity. As stated in previous videos, all three of these houses are going to have the same element, at least if you're using whole house systems. These three houses are all tied together through the common theme of personal growth. We'll get into that right away. We'll first cover the first house, then the fifth house, and then the ninth house. Okay, so no matter what house system you're using, the first house is going to be the house of your ascendant. So if you're not familiar with what the ascendant means in your birth chart, I will put a link up here so you can go back and review those videos. But the first house pretty much all has to do with your ascendant. So the first house is super important when we're using the house systems, because when it comes to talking about the different houses, the first house will always indicate you. So something that's coming from the first house is going to be either something that has to do with your body, or it's going to be something that has to do with your perspective changing, or it's going to have something to do with how you perceive things and also your will. So this is the house where you take action, and anything that's aspecting that is like directly affecting you. So if you're looking at aspects that you have in your own birth chart or transits, and you want to know how it's affecting you, you have to put your perspective or yourself into the ascendant part of whatever it is that you're looking at. I hope this makes sense. But to recap, the first house is going to encompass your body, your brain, your perception on the world, what things you notice in your environment, and how you process that information. Now, when I say that, we kind of start to get into the aspects, because it's really hard to talk about the houses without talking about the aspects, but I'm trying to like build a foundation here. So after we're done talking about the houses, then we'll review the aspects. But if you're looking at your birth chart right now, which you should be, I advise you to be looking at your own birth chart so you can kind of put all these pieces into practicality as we're talking about them. You'll see a bunch of lines in between the planets, straight lines in between different planets and sensitive points in your own birth chart. Those are called aspects. So when you have a line that goes all the way across your chart, that's called an opposition. So say there's an opposition to the ascendant, you are going to feel opposed, right? And if there is something happening from the other houses in the house of spirit, so say the first house is something's happening from the fifth house or the ninth house, those are going to be a trine. Okay, so like I said, we'll get into the aspects after we're done going over the houses, but I just wanted to touch on it now because all of the houses that are grouped together in these trinities trine each other. What that means is that they are in a harmonious flow. They're supportive of the themes of each other, and there isn't really, they don't provide blockage. They don't provide obstacles for each other. So the houses in these trines have a harmonious relationship to each other for the most part. So then let's get into the next house, which is the fifth house. Okay, so the fifth house has to do with where we create. This is where we express ourselves. This is where we discover ourselves through play. This is where we make things, like have creative self-expression, really. So this is going to cover all types of creation. If you're into the chakra system or familiar with them, this is the seat of the sacral chakra. Okay, so you have the Trinity of Spirit. The first house is like the will and the body in general and the mind. So the first house, more than any other house, represents you, yourself, your own psyche. Then in the fifth house, what you're experiencing is your sacral chakra. So you're creatively expressing yourself, and in doing so, growing yourself and learning about yourself. How do children learn? It's through play. So this house is about play. It's about recreational activities. It's about pleasure. It's about joy, right? And it also involves children and dating, not so serious dating, but somebody who you're dating maybe casually or you don't know them that well. This also includes sex, because sex is an action that reproduces, right? So this is coming from your sacral chakra. This is a creative energy. It's a part of you that needs to be open in order to fully have intimacy, right? So these are the topics that are associated with the fifth house. So along with that, we have children. Children are also a topic of the fifth house. This goes along with the Trinity of spirit being connected to growth. One way that people grow is through having children. Then lastly, in the Trinity of spirit, we have the ninth house. Now, the ninth house is called the house of God in traditional Hellenistic astrology, but this is the house of greater expansion. This is where we become more than what we already are. It's where we break past the barriers of our current knowledge, our current experience, and our current understanding of the world, and expand it. So along with this, anything that falls into that type of energy is going to fall into this house. So that includes college, higher education, master's programs, PhDs, classes and courses that are, especially ones that are philosophical or ones that study foreign cultures or foreign languages. These are going to be ninth house topics. In contrast to this is going to be the third house, which we'll talk about in later videos. But for now, just keep in mind that the ninth house is about expansion of the self. And this can be expansion of the mind through education, expansion of the psyche through, studying deep mysteries and philosophical things. This can also be expansion through physical means. So long distance travel, foreign countries, foreign people that teach us something other than what we're familiar with. So this house is where we go to reach beyond that which is ourselves. So that's also why it's called the house of God, because it's kind of reaching to know or understand that which is currently beyond our grasp. Okay, so I hope that gives you a good understanding for the houses. Just like everything, we're kind of learning the basics of it, and as you go, these things will become so much more clear to you. So definitely have flashcards for this so that when we start to build on them in Module 4, you won't be scrambling to try and remember what those were, but you'll have a steady foundation. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.